What's up guys, hope everyone is doing well. In this video I'm going to be going over some updates for Bitcoin on the lower time frames that I'm going to go over towards the end. Pretty important update here on the higher time frames. But first off, on the hourly right here, I've been updating the symmetrical triangle. So we got this M pattern right here. This has been the last M pattern pretty much in this consolidation we've seen so far, which I'll touch on that here in a second. But first off, go here on this zoomed in part. Again, we have this symmetrical triangle right here. If we actually, what I decided to do was to take a range with respect to the breakout because it's kind of behaving a little weird. So I took the lowest one, so from the beginning, it's pretty much the top of the triangle to the bottom, and then also took it more kind of like a flag. Went all the way up to where we broke down pretty hard from right here all the way to the bottom of the triangle. And that's the range we've been seeing so far. It's been holding up pretty nice. We keep coming up and bouncing, or getting rejected from this upper support line. Best case scenarios, we continue to hold this and slowly do move towards the upside. Worst case scenarios, we do continue to go down, and we eventually actually end up blowing through 18,000, which would be the worst case scenario right now, given our lowest local low right now is around 18.2. But here, if we actually go here to the 30-minute, you can see right here on the stock RSI down here, we're looking rather similar back here as we did on the 9th. As we are right now here on the 12th, kind of making this double top formation. You can see it's kind of similar on the price right here. We kind of made this rounded out double top. Similar to right here, we're coming down. So we could see a slow bleed out, a gradual decline right here. Kind of similar, just following along with this support line we've seen going down to around maybe 18.5 or so. If you actually take a look here at this right here, which I've been updating this here on Twitter along with this symmetrical triangle pattern that I showed as well. But right now, we really need to hold around 18.2. As I said, that is our lowest local low right now. And this lowest trend line we see is connected from the approximately 17.5 thousand bottom to this, as I said, this local low right here around 18.1 or 18.2. So I believe if we do start to lose, just in general, approximately 18,000, that will probably signify either going down to test around 17.5 once more, or we are going to blow through that to set a newer low in the long run of things for this bear market. But right now we are kind of just chilling around 19,000. Right now we need to watch this zone, keep this zone for right now, hold 19,000 and continue to move towards the upside. So hopefully we don't get this kind of similar play out here on this 13-minute and slowly kind of decline, which would most likely follow through with here on the hourly getting this possible steeper drop down to around 18.5. But here on the hour, if you take a look at this stock RSI, perhaps since we've come up to this upper range, perhaps we'll kind of hold off this middle area for a while, kind of continue sideways trading while slowly perhaps showing a gradual incline towards the upside while slowly kind of gaining more ground in this upper range of the stock RSI just to correlate with a higher form and just momentum, just kind of like acceleration towards the upside overall for the price compared to that. But here, if we go to the 4 hourly again, once more, that was further on the slow and gradual downside we've seen so far, down to around 18.2 as I said, or perhaps we'll just see a quick drop off along those lines. But again, here on the 2-day, as I've already showed this out, we'll either get this break towards the downside and make lower lows, or perhaps just test around 17.5 again and then bounce from there, leading into this white path towards the upside of around 242 approximately $1,000 on the second half of next year. Again, with these bullish divergences we're seeing right now, which is another good thing to see. But the main thing that I do want to go over for this video is this chart right here on the weekly. I have a VPR volume profile range with respect to pretty much this phase we're in, so really the only thing that kind of matters right now, which was with respect to the high we set for the previous cycle around end of 17, early 2018 at around 20,000 or so. I think the candle closed at around probably like, let's see here, I'm actually curious. Let's see, the candle closed at around 17.3. We wicked up to around 19.9, pretty much 20,000. And as I've already pointed out, we really haven't even broken into the previous cycle high. We haven't even touched the candle closing, and we've really only had wicks come into contact, which is still, I mean, a good thing to see. But outside of that, again, with this VPR, with respect to this all-time high back here, all the way to where we are currently are, taking into account all the price action from this bottom to this high, again all the way out to our current time, and we see right now we are currently within this range right here to find some sort of reversal support or some sort of resolution point. Basically, you can kind of look at these boxes right here, so this upper one right here, this middle one, and then this last one right here. You can kind of look at them as kind of like resolution points. you can almost kind of think about them also as well as kind of like points of gravity, like on the price, kind of like if you have a point, let's say you had a dot right here, a dot right here, and then a dot right here with where we are right now. You can kind of think about it as like they're kind of points of gravity. It's kind of like drawing them to that point over time with respect to the kind of like volume demand and things like that with respect to this current phase that we're in. But right now, if we don't withhold this current low range we've set right here as low as 17.5 thousand, as I've already pointed out again on Twitter, my Twitter is in my description if you want to go and check those tweets out in between videos. We either, in terms of the risk to reward right now, it's really, you are better off just at least putting in some sort of a position right now, just because the upside is a lot more right now and you don't really want to get caught in on losing some sort of upside. But realistically, the best thing to do, if you are going to look at it that way, is just to wait till we break this upper line right here at around 22,000, especially once we start breaking 25,000. I personally think that will probably just be the line in the sand, saying that we are going to reverse into the next bull market. But again, if we do see one more downside, I don't think we're going to go anything lower than 10,000. 10,000 has been the lowest I've seen anybody within the cryptocurrency space saying that it could go. If perhaps, let's say everything just crashes because the world's looking terrible right now. I mean, we do have another support line right here around 7.2 thousand. So we could possibly even go as far as that. That would actually correlate with around 90% drop, which is the most we've seen so far in Bitcoin's history if that were to happen. And then this one down to around 11.5 thousand or so lines up with around 83-84%, which is kind of the average we've seen or so with every bear market so far. But again, as I did point out, we are kind of in a special spot. As you can see right here, we are down 75-74% from our all-time high right now. If we actually go back to the previous iteration of this current phase that we're in, that lines up back here with the first super cycle we saw. You can actually see, disregarding this wick down here because it happened before the overall bottom was set in, you can see we went down 75%, 74%, so that's lining up nicely. That's another confluence we could see. Also, if you go to the monthly, you don't see this wick right here. It's just a fluid drop into this point right here. But again, that is just another confluence. Again, that is the same exact phase. We're just seeing it look a little different. It's being decayed a little bit because Bitcoin's kind of having a drunken stagger over time. It's going to lose its oomph over time. Most simple way to put it. It's just not going to be as strong. But again, yeah, outside of that, this is the main thing I wanted to point out here on the monthly. This is pretty much the same thing. I just wanted to show this same VPR on the monthly, just to say it doesn't really change if you go to the higher time frames, because higher time frames typically are more solid. You get kind of the same picture. There's a minor difference though. I did draw some of these lines on here. So for example, this white line right here is drawn in just to kind of show more in it, more of a range instead of it being a specific line, how it typically puts on here for the VPR. But this white line right here, and then this lower black line at 7.2 thousand are the ones that naturally came with this tool. So this one actually comes down a little bit lower to around 17,000 on the dot. So I think in general here, with respect to this monthly one, this line right here will be held. I don't think it will actually end up going lower than pretty much 17,000 on the dot. I think it's possible. Perhaps we see like a quick wick down to just a tad bit lower than around 17.5 thousand, just to maybe scare some people and whatnot, just before they go and move things up towards the upside. But also, again, you come down here and take a look at this on the stock RSI. We're getting one of these blue flips right here, which you can see every time we got it in the past has been a good thing, and indicated the bottom down here, and also indicated the bottom for the March crash right here as well. It was also a good indicator for the momentum we saw from around 28,000 in July 2021 to 69,000 in November of 2021. We did also get a MACD flip down here for this monthly as well recently, which is a good thing. And we're also just on the RSI. We are at historical lows with respect to the RSI to just in general be a good time to buy. Again, we also have our RSI candles correlated with that we're getting right now. We're at the same amount we got back here for this drop back here in 2018, which again, if you go to the weekly, you can see how much more similar they actually do look with this very similar W pattern that we're forming. That was about all that I really wanted to go over. Again, right now we are just really trying to hold 19,000 at the current moment. If we do end up losing 19,000, just in general, we need to hold approximately 18,000 to at least be hopeful to not either have a drop down to 16 to 14,000 or as low to 12 to 10,000, or perhaps see some sort of like one last washout or scare tactic towards around 17.2 thousand, 17.5 thousand or so before things get brought into a reversal. But that was about all that I wanted to go over in this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I hope you all have a blessed day.